Welcome back to Family, Faith, and Friends podcast, and welcome to the season one finale. This season has been such a blessing. We sat together at the table, listened to the next generation, served our community, strengthened our families, laughed, worshiped, and celebrated the friendships God places in our lives. Today, we're doing something special. We're looking ahead at where this podcast is going, where this channel is growing, and how God is guiding us from a church project to a community beacon, to a full media network full of faith, love, and connection. Over the season, we heard stories of service, hope, friendship, and family, and it reminded us of something powerful. Faith isn't meant to stay inside a building. It's meant to live in the world. That's why this podcast has touched community members, youth, families, and friends from all backgrounds. It's becoming a community platform, a place where local stories, faith journeys, and uplifting conversations can inspire everyone who listens. This is only the beginning, because the heart of this work isn't just content, it's connection. Joining me at the table is our friend and pastor, Nicole Vogel. We call her Pastor Nicki. And this is number 3.
Yeah.
When you got something good, you invite it back, So,
Well, thanks.
But the reason why I brought you back, and I don't think we need any. If they watched our podcast, they know who you are. And if you don't know who she is, watch the first episode, which is actually the most highest number viewed. Yeah,
Okay.
Of course, the first one usually is.
Yes.
Not to burst your bubble or anything like that. But the reason why I asked you to be the final guest was this whole podcast thing is something I had an idea for, and I've had this idea for 3 years, 4 years, and I've actually owned it, like bought all the stuff for 3 years. And when I brought it to you, you said, yeah, let's go for it. And I'm like, oh, she said yes. So I felt fitting that you would be you were the first guest, and now you're the last guest of this particular season. Yes. And so I'm excited.
Good.
And I'm excited to have you here for the finale of the first season, and then the next season coming up. I mean, we'll have you back, of course. But let's start right into the questions. And the first question I have is, what has stood out to you the most from this season?
So this feels like the question that we make a joke, my husband and I, that we don't like, because there's too many good stuff to point to one. There was so many good episodes that it just that blew me away, that of things that I didn't know, and you'll I'm sure we'll get into more of it, but I can't say that there was one that stood out to me more than the others, but there were 2 that I would like to probably lift up. And one was the music one, and it inspired a sermon. So that's one of the reasons.
Oh, really?
Some of the stuff that was said there made me go, you know what? Maybe that is a sermon idea to talk about how God can speak to us through music, and how our spirits can speak to us through that. And then the other one was when Kreese was on as a college student, and when he noted that they want to be involved. I've been reading that, but hearing it from a student and got my wheels turning about how we can get them involved, given that they're, not typically here during the high seasons just because of the way the semesters work.
And that's true. I mean, when he mentioned that in the pod, I was like, whoa, you take for granted that you don't realize,
Right.
the people you're serving and the people you're not serving, maybe you could be serving them better. And that really made a really good impact.
Yeah.
And he was a very good guest. He's number 2 in the ratings. He has a lot of fans. So you have a lot of fans too. So I'm not saying you have a lot of fans.
I don't need the fans. Glory to God. Give the glory to God, please.
But yeah, so those are good points. And this season really, to put my little 2 cents in here is I was not knowing where it was going to go. And I was like, oh, how are we going to do this? Like when I worked out all the descriptions of the different weeks and planned it all out, I was like, to find the people, I was like, how are we going to find these people? And then it just came out of the woodwork. Like I asked people, like, Carl Schreck, to see him get on there. And there was, Carl will never do it. The city said Carl would, but Carl was amazing, and and
The
Cindy
Shrek
and
and the
Judy,
Shreks.
the Shrek and the Shrek, and Judy Shrek,
Right.
and Judy Shrek, and Sandy. Amazing. And then, of course, Tim Talk. Tim Talk. Okay, well, enough's enough. We'll talk more about that, I'm sure.
Yeah.
And because here we're going to talk about conversations this season. What conversation impacted you faithfully? Obviously, you mentioned the music. That was pretty interesting that you mentioned the music. Is there anything else?
So I think overall I was encouraged a lot by the episodes, and I'll get into this probably more later. But it's the season of Advent right now, and so in the devotional we had this morning with my son, it's on hope. And so that has been in my mind. And I feel like watching all of those episodes from this season has given me hope regarding this church, this activity, this podcast, a lot of things where God can do more great work.
Exactly what I thought would happen.
Mm-hmm.
So that's good. That's good. We're on track then.
Yeah.
How have you seen faith move beyond the church walls into the community?
Well, I've been watching the episodes as they come out, and each one, if you listen to them, has an example. So I don't even know that I need to say anything here other than go back and watch every one of the videos, and you will see how so many people who come to this church regularly take what they learn here and use in their faith out into the community. And for those listeners who do not know this, if you watch our church live streams or the videos after, you will see there is specifically, I pray something before each sermon. And as part of that, at the ending, I say, and most importantly, to take out into the world. And I believe that was revealed in every episode.
We far reach the church walls. We surpass the church walls in so many ways. Whether it be Operation the shoebox,
Christmas
Child, and then and the Thanksgiving drive and everything. Everything. There's a lot of things.
Well, in our newsletter is a list of all the things we've done, either as a church or members of our church that are doing it in the community. And that list is almost a page now.
It's getting long.
It's getting so long.
For a little church, it's amazing what we accomplish here. And I don't want people at home to think that this podcast is a way of saying what we do.
No.
It's just showing what
hopefully
we do.
Encouraging you that a small church doesn't mean anything.
Right.
You can still live out your faith in many ways, even an aging small church, which is growing in youth because we are working to continue to live out our beliefs and our faith.
Are there community stories this season that might have inspired you the most? And if not, if they all inspired you, that's good.
Well, that's the problem. I was inspired a little bit from each. And a lot of them I've heard before. And so they were an inspiration when I initially heard them, and they continue to be an inspiration. I think for me, my biggest struggle is to not want to be a part of that because I have to stay connected as to where my role is.
Right.
And encourage people to do the same and do what I have to do for my faith and my ministry is here. And in the wider community. So I have my roles, and I want to so I will do things like we do Brighter Christmas. I will buy gifts to contribute to Brighter Christmas from our family. But I don't want to lead those things per se, so that others in this community have an opportunity to live out their faith.
And I'm a step ahead of you because we're in a recording schedule, so you haven't listened to
everyone
the Tim and Carl talk, which was a very inspiring community of friendship.
I can only imagine.
And I never realized,
how close they are.
They are really. And then
Mhm.
someone said, "How about?" Actually, I was talking to a member of the congregation. I said, "I don't know who to get. I need two really good friends." And they mentioned Tim and Carl. Like, really? Like Tim and Carl? Like, and I know they're friendly, but they really are friendly. From flipping burgers to
Mhm.
helping in the community.
And they will cover at last minute for service. When I was sick, I don't know if you remember, when I got COVID.
Actually, they did, yeah.
And I said, I can't make it in. They stepped right up and did it, because it's not easy to find coverage at last minute.
And they were very good.
And they were able to lead a service at last minute.
Well, this is our season finale, and we're not done here. If you're at home, you're watching this, and we're going to take. The plan is to take about a 2-week break and start like the first of the year, right after the first of the year.
Yeah.
I need to, for the holidays, spend some time, but I might throw something up there on the channel, so to say, for filler. But one of the
maybe
things,
a few challenges for Christmas.
Maybe Christmas challenge.
Yes,
that's true. I didn't think about that. That's a good idea. But I wanted to just give a little sneak peek of what I see as moving ahead, and see what you can expect to see moving forward as we grow this channel. Just a glimpse. I see more conversations, more community involvement. I'm working on like a video series, like some shorts. Not an hour podcast, maybe like a 5-minute, 10-minute little blurb. Music and worship clips. I was thinking about pulling some things from our worship that might be inspirational to other people, because a lot goes on in our worship service that and you can watch the whole service every week on our regular YouTube channel, which is East Stroudsburg Presbyterian Church on YouTube. Again, I'm talking about getting testimonies of local outreach stories. Because one of the things is I'm involved with this church and involved in some of our groups that use our church. We have a lot of groups that use our church. And then those people are involved in other groups. And we get to talk. And there's such a plethora of involvement that comes through our doors beyond our membership. And I've already talked to a few, hey, I need you on my podcast because I think you would be inspirational to other people. And, and they said yes. So some people, and I'm looking for we're looking to have partnerships with families, schools, different nonprofits that and church and other churches. Yep. One of the things, and for those that might not have seen this yet on our YouTube channel for our churches, we recently had a Thanksgiving service, Thanksgiving
Thanksgiving gathering.
And to see 25, 26, almost 30 different congregations.
It was 26 different congregations represented that day.
That was amazing. Really.
Faith communities. Because not every faith identifies as a church or a congregation. Correct.
And that's what I was wondering, with a couple of the groups that weren't calling themselves churches, but they were a part of.
They were, yes.
And just to see that, and I was like, holy cow. My next podcast. Oh, there's one. All these people, because some of our like our Buddhist friends and our Muslim friends, and a couple of them I talked to, they said yes, we're ready. We're ready to be. So that's where I want to see, and then a growing digital presence across multiple platforms. We want to grow. I want to grow.
Yeah.
Because season 2 will go deeper into real lives, real stories, and real faith in action, and right here in our community and beyond. That's what I want to see season 2 be, because that's just the beginning. This is just the beginning, Pastor.
Yeah.
I hope you're ready for it. And don't worry, the websites. I'm working on the website. So now looking ahead, knowing with that in mind, how do you see God working in the future on this podcast and this channel?
I just am excited and hopeful about the broader reach we could have to bring God's love and our living out our faith to others, to help make their lives easier, and to feel God's love and inspire them to live out their faith as well. And if it brings people to faith, amen.
Well, that's it. And that was my whole thing for doing it, is if you can reach one person that might be, I don't know about this, and they I never looked at it that, because there's faith beyond the church. Everyone think, you have to go to church there's faith goes beyond the church walls. you know,
sure.
and like as Tim Swanson says, we live God every minute of our life.
Mm-hmm.
God is in our life every minute of our life, and when you get that, and it was funny because we were doing our podcast, and Tim would go, "I'm getting the chill right now, this right down the spine," and oh, I just got it now, and so like really, it's like it just inspires you, and it really does, because it's just a way of reaching people, and I didn't want to be too religious, and I don't think it was religious this time around.
Well, it was faith focused.
Faith focused, right?
Not when we talk about religion versus faith. Religious is all those activities we do as a religious group, whereas faith is both personal and communal,
right? But
it is inward and not outward focused, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I knew that. That's why I did it.
Well, I'm sharing that for those
family,
who
faith,
are coming,
and friends.
yeah,
Okay,
or are joining us online.
Okay, that's true. In case they don't know.
In case they don't know.
So
you know that because you've been here with me.
So that is a truth. You can experience faith without having, you know, that that the church is and that's why I think if the week was planned out with keep the seventh day holy,
right?
Because the seventh day kind of brings the culmination of the last 6 days, and then brings you on to the next 6 days. Am I right? Why did I say that?
Yeah. We should do an episode on
we could
Sabbath
do
rest.
We could. Well, who rests on the Sabbath? Not you and me. But no, we do. I rest.
Well, we could do an episode on that, and I could explain why.
Okay, well, stay tuned. That's that will be part of season 2.
That actually might be my Lenten sermons Lenten sermon series this year.
Okay, then that we'll do it right before that, maybe.
All right, maybe.
Okay. Now, you obviously a lot excites you.
I do. I am excited about where this is going to go.
Because it's exciting to think about it.
Yeah.
What excites you the most about expanding into a broader faith-based network? You know, like you know my vision. It's like today church, tomorrow community, next day network.
What excites me the most is so many times we want to do something using our faith, and we put God in a box. It's got to be done this way or that way. What excites me the most is we have ideas, but we don't have, it's got to go this way intention. And so not putting God in a box allows us to be freer to reach others through this process. And I think knowing that that's how you are and you live out your faith, it inspires and encourages me and excites me to know what could possibly be from this in the future.
Cool. That's a good way of putting it. Thank you. How has being part of this season strengthened your walk with God, if any?
So in watching the videos, all that I have watched, I've heard a lot of, and Pastor Nicki shared, and Pastor Nicki said this. And that always makes me at first go, ugh. But then I realized in my prayer time and thinking about that is that God has really been answering the prayer that I ask all the time, every morning. Use me for your good and lift others up and use me to help them grow their faith. And so as much as I cringe at I first hearing it, I realize that that's God's way of saying you're doing what I've asked you to do. And this is the results of it. And so in doing this, you have stepped into what God has asked you to do and lead this process. And so that excites me.
You're right. Because I mean, I do that same thing every morning. Like, hey, what's my plan for today? You know? And there's a lot of things I do. It's like, people, why do you do that? You know, like, why do you do that? Like, I feel compelled. I just have this in me to do it. And I think that's God putting that seed in you. And, you know, I learned one thing since my time, more here too, is we're here for a short time on earth. We're granted a time on earth that God put us here for a reason, right? And there's a reason why we're all here. There's a reason why, 19 years ago, you were time date stamped. You were expired, and now you're unexpired,
Right?
Because God's not done with you.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe your body said maybe I had a problem, but God said no, not yet.
Mm-hmm.
There's too many people.
God
She needs
gets the
to help.
last say.
That's right. And so that's what I look at it. There's a reason why we're all here, and my granddaughter and I were talking. It's like, because she was saying something. It's because God. It's for things are done for a reason. She said, like, we were talking about. I forget we were talking about something, and why does it happen? Because there's a reason for everything.
There's a reason. Not always that we understand it, but there's definitely a reason.
Why do people die early? But that's something I still don't understand. But that could be a whole other podcast right there. Really could. That lives cut short.
Or a sermon.
That's true. See?
I did a sermon on it years ago. Maybe I need to do it again.
Yeah.
Because that was before your time. Maybe that will be one of our canned sermons.
Oh, yeah. Okay, that's good. For those, we say canned sermons. We don't can our sermons. No. We actually, we have if you watch our Sunday service is recorded live, and here in the Poconos, occasionally we have a snow day. And while some churches just cancel service completely and say, hey, we're closed today, it's snowing, we as a congregation decided, or we as leadership of church staff decided, no, we have to provide, and we have the capabilities of coming into people's living rooms and their cars and everything, where hotel rooms, wherever they are. So we will pre-record, we actually pre-record a live service like it was here, like we are here. And just
minus
keep
the
that
people.
Minus the people. Well, sometimes we have people sitting there.
That's true. Sometimes we do.
People came in sometimes too. Be the lonely congregational voice, but then we keep it in the can, so to say. So in case there's a snow day, and then I sit in my office at home and live. I stream it live, like it's live, but it's still Memorex. People go, "What's Memorex?" Well, you're obviously too young if you don't know that one.
Yep.
So. Cool. This is exactly what I was hoping this episode would be. Thank you, Pastor. What message would you like to leave with our viewers as we look ahead?
Well, family, faith, and friends are vital to living a life full of hope and purpose. And so as you look ahead and you get excited about the next season, as I am, I would encourage you to continue seeking faith, family, and friends to live out your faith with.
They kind of blend together.
They all blend together and give us purpose to live out our faith and hope as we live it with others who can encourage us, just like this podcast can encourage anybody who watches.
And that's a good point.
Or listens.
Yeah, or listens, right? Because we can listen to. And that is a good point. With the three, you have to have family and friends to have faith. It helps pull the faith in there. Without my daughter helping me today, she's helping us. She's been here every episode, and she helps. We don't edit our episodes, but we kind of clean them up at the end and make them ready for broadcast. And now, which people don't realize, I stream and I'm upstairs in the choir loft. That's my office, and my family now joins me for the service, which is a very, very nice thing to have my family join me for the service, which is good too. So you're right. They all work together, and that's the thing. That was the whole point, just to because maybe people are lacking, and they just need that little guidance, and that was what this was all about. And so now what I want to do, I want to encourage, if you are watching this, not many people comment, and I ask people to comment, but if you are watching this particular service and there's, knowing what Pastor Nicki just said is there something that you might like to see as a future episode? Since you're the viewer, the listener, is there something that you think would be interesting? Because that's nice to hear from people. So if there's something you put in the comment section that, something that you think might be a good episode for the future. I mean, just to recap the season, we started with you and me around the table. Right. And then we had Crease, the representative of our youth, and he was a good representative of the youth. And then we had the Emerys / Gilbert, for the music, and that was an amazing service, amazing podcast. And then we had the Gilbert family, a young family, which was an amazing thing. And then
the Swansons.
Oh yes, we forgot the family, and that was an interesting one too. I'm going to hit on that. And he said he watches, so let's see if he watches. Lucas. I had no intentions of having Lucas here, and it was just going to be Lisa and Tim because I needed a family, and they were a family, even though I wanted the family, but they and when they said they would be here, and then that Sunday afternoon they were actually going to see Lucas's baseball game that day, and Tim reached out to me and said, "Would you mind if Lucas joined us?" I'm like, "Yes, no," and actually he's wants to be. He's actually in which you don't know. He's actually in the tradition part of our. Actually, people already saw that already if they're watching this. But in the traditions, I got him to give a little family tradition. He was here this past week when I was recording. So then we had that, and then we had Holy Humor. We had you come back, and then what else was left?
Carl and Tim.
Friendship, an amazing friendship, and then today, and then also our seasonal traditions, which was last week, if you're watching in order. It was a good season. I think it was a nice rounded season, and I look forward to what lies ahead. Cool. Well, it's on to our season challenge. This is the end of the season, and it's the Walk into What God is Building challenge. This week and during our break before season 2, I invite you to take one step of faith toward what God is building in your life. It may be a conversation. It might be prayer, forgiveness, service. A simple saying yes to where God is leading you. Small steps lead to big futures when God is the one guiding the way. Would you agree with that?
Amen.
I mean, that's, little steps.
Yep.
And it builds up on that. So take that challenge, and if you do take the challenge, put in the comments. Come back and put in the comments how it worked. Keep in mind, and we're launching the social media. I wanted to wait till the first season was done to and then have people really push the season. So it's going to be interesting. So it's interesting. And now we go on to our Bible verse of the day. Every week, this is something that's been just to touch on this. This is something I enjoy doing because I'm not one to read the Bible on a regular basis, which I should. And a lot of people do, and I know you do, because you seem to know every verse like up here, memorized. But one of the things that's interesting is
a lot of music.
Yes, a lot of music. Is that what it is?
That was one of the things that they named in that music helps you remember Bible verses.
Really? Yes. That's interesting. It's interesting. And I know. My children. One of my daughter said she has a Bible, and I'm like, "Oh, you have a Bible?" And my granddaughter wants a Bible for Christmas. So, pretty interesting thought. So, and this was one of my to come up with a verse that and research and search in different Bible verses. And I will admit that my friend Chet helps me a little bit find the verses. But then he finds me a few, and I narrow it down. But I'm not going to say who Chet is. It's my secret. But you'll probably.
He's a friend of both of ours.
Yes, and a friend of Mary too, our office secretary. But this is Jeremiah 29:11, and it says, "For I know the plans I have for you, plans to give you hope and a future." And that's a powerful verse in a couple words. This verse reminds us that God is already ahead of us, preparing the path we cannot yet see, which is amazing because it seems like that every day. It's like weird. Even when we face uncertainty or feel unsure about the future, God promises hope, purpose, and direction. Jeremiah 29:11 is not only a comfort, it's an invitation to trust. It assures us that God's plans are good, intentional, and filled with a future shaped by His love. And as we look forward to what's next, we can move with confidence, knowing that God is guiding us in every step. And it's true. Well said.
Yeah.
And now I know you prayed us but I've been praying every week.
Good. And I have been loving it.
And I've been coming up with some good prayers too.
Yeah.
You loved it, really?
I do. Because when we were doing Bible study yesterday, I invite people to pray. It doesn't always need to be the pastor.
Okay. What?
God listens to everybody's words.
Even me, right?
Even you.
Well, let's finish with a prayer. Lord, thank you for guiding this podcast, this ministry, and this community. Thank you for every story shared, every listener touched, and every moment you've led. As we look ahead, prepare the path before us. Turn this podcast into a blessing for homes, churches, and communities everywhere. Let this network shine your light in all we create and all we share. We pray this in your name. Amen.
Amen.
Wow. Another podcast, first series.
Season done.
First season done. And it doesn't end here, folks. It doesn't end here. If you're watching this, no matter when you're watching this, the target is to have this up the first weekend, like right after the New Year, maybe the second week in January.
All right.
Because we gotta decompress.
I was going to say, you got to get the people to get here, so you might have to wait a little bit after the holidays. So maybe week 2 or 3 of January.
Yeah, and I've been leaning toward possibly sometimes doing the electronic podcast where we don't have to always maybe going beyond the table.
Yeah, that would work.
Because I know we talked about a little studio over on the other side of the building, and maybe a comfier scenario, but I like the table because that's a lot of people. This is what's missing in our
maybe
world.
The next time around is the table's important, but it's also important to have a gathering space.
That's it.
So next season is about gathering.
That's it. I like that. See that? You're more involved in this than you think. And you know who else is more involved? I gotta tell you this. I want to out there. I know she's probably watching. I want to thank Judy.
Yes.
Judy Schreck. She's been an inspiration and a real push for this. I don't you know that, but she is always giving me little pointers and saying that was good, but maybe and she's really watching this and
Judy, she does that for me, and I have appreciated that about her since I've been here.
Yeah, and she does that for me on the tech and the custodial side.
She knows how to approach people and lift them up. Even if it's a mistake they're making.
That's a good way of putting it.
Right?
She can give you correction without making you feel like you're making a mistake.
Correct. Yeah.
That's a good idea.
I didn't mean to. That was not a pun intended. But
that's true. So Judy, I know you're watching. Thank you. And you're going to be slated for another round. Don't worry. Well, thank you all for being a part of season 1. We couldn't have done it without you. And this Family, Faith, and Friends podcast is all about you and anything you think you didn't see this time and want to see in the future. Like I said, put it in the comments below. We appreciate your feedback. Your support, your prayers, and your participation mean more. And to all the guests that came on this season, thank you, because I couldn't have done it without you. We couldn't have done it without you. And Pastor Nicki, without you, this wouldn't be here. So thank you. Because it's all there. It's something there.
It's this whole church that made this possible.
This church made it possible. It did. And that's one thing I love about this church is you get a good idea and
you think you did an episode on stewardship?
That was Judy, yeah. Yep. And and so we need to go further.
This doesn't exist without the people.
It doesn't. No church. And that's what I'll tell you, I hate to, or on the end, but I hate to bring up another that if you look at a lot of some churches that may be you think they're growing, but they're not. It's all about the pastor, but it's not about the people. You know what I'm saying? Right. So I'm not saying it's a bad thing, but you really need a family, a church family, to make the whole every
pastors come and go, even if it's through retirement and they've been with you for 30 years. They're still going to eventually go. It's the people that keep it going.
Yeah, and you got like Carl Schrick that was here for 30 some years, almost 40 years.
We've got lots of members who've been here a long time.
So, they've seen pastors come and go. They've seen tech people. Actually, I don't think we had tech people before me.
No.
We had
We had technology people in our congregation who stepped up to the plate when it was needed, and then it went further. So,
so we advanced.
Exactly.
So again, thanks for watching this season, and make sure to subscribe and follow us at Family, Faith, and Friends. And look for familyfaithandfriends.com very soon, for updates on season 2 and beyond, and also our expanding network. And with that, I leave you with, until next time, always remember, family, faith, friends, together we grow.